Good day and welcome back to another DBZ Legends video. In this video, we're going to take a look at how I beat every single challenge and the Scream difficulty of the challenge battle, the special anniversary challenge battle. Now I am going to preface this by saying it is pretty tough. I do think you need to have at least, at the very minimum, to beat the challenge, you gotta have at least 3 decent sparking characters. It doesn't have to mean that you need like the ultras. I don't think you need to have all of them be Legends Limited, but you do need to have at least 3 decent characters. I will say as well, you definitely want to focus on switch characters, tag characters, anyone that can give you multiple type advantages. I'm showing you my initial teams. I'll show you all of the equipment for each team. I'll try to discuss a little bit what to focus on, but there's not much I can do. I can't show you the full fight. No fight's going to be the same. No fight's going to be exactly the same. So showing you the full fight's kind of pointless. In terms of this first one, just you have type advantage on 3 characters. Just switch those 3 characters as necessary and balance out your type issues. Beating the events on Scream is not so challenging. Having 3 even just normal sparking characters with type advantage generally gives you a pretty good up. Getting the challenges done is where things get interesting, because a lot of the challenges require you to do mono type teams. So that means only red, only blue, etc. First one we're going to do is Saiyan. So this is the 3 Saiyan challenge. Here we are using an Ultra. I wanted to try the Ultra Vegito for the yellow challenge later on, and I actually refrained from using him in that challenge. So what I would do is I would switch the Ultra Vegeta out for Gamma 1 and Gamma 2. I think they're a lot more appealing and a lot more accessible anyway, since they're on a current banner. So Gamma 1, Gamma 2, I think are the better option. Put them as a friend lead, keep everything else the same pretty much, or put them as the leader. Sorry, keep everything else the same. Use a Saiyan boosting team, stick them as the lead, and keep Vegeta and Broly, and you should be pretty good to go. The Saiyan team wasn't impossible. Well, there I go and say use Gamma 1 and Gamma 2. You can't use them. You can use the latest Goku and Vegeta if you have them. I think that's probably your best bet, to be honest with you. I was already thinking ahead to the all yellow team, but yeah, it is tough. Look, listen, it's not an easy situation to be in. These fights are tough, but I think ultimately at the end of the day, you don't need to have Ultra Vegito to complete this. Broly and Vegeta carry you more than enough. You can use Red MUI Goku, and I think you'll achieve a similar result. It won't be as fast, but you should have enough of a gap to deal with this. Next team, so this team, this time around, this is the all yellow team. So with this one, we're going with a bit of a powerful opponent feel. So we've got Jiren from earlier, we've got the Gamma 1 and Gamma 2, obviously, which is really, really helpful. They're great because they switch typings. So they provide us with a bit of a reverse yellow coverage, which is good. And then I've got the Sparking Tapion, who is nice for eating Rising Rushes. So in terms of this team, not a lot really. You have more than enough damage power. You need to be a bit wary of the Vegito, but you can do a lot of damage to him with the Jiren and with the Gamma 1 and Gamma 2. Especially their final standby skill ability. That does a lot of damage and can help you because it's AoE damage. So you can use that on, for example, the Gogeta, and cause damage to the rest of the party quite nicely. So that definitely does help. In terms of anything else, look, this team worked really nicely. There's not a lot I can say. Use Tapion to eat the Rising Rush if you need to, but this team got things done pretty well. Jiren's also really good for damage, and generally I didn't have any issues here. So overall I was quite happy with this team, to the point where I didn't really have to contemplate doing too much. Like changing too much, doing too much. So yeah, I tended to just have a good time here, and ultimately wasn't too phased by things in general. So this one worked out nicely. Definitely a more interesting team build you could try, but I felt like this was a decent one with a good mix of units. So yeah, now we move on to the purple team. So purple team actually worked out really nicely. Lots of good Zenkai boosts. This is good old God Key purple. So we got quite a few cross coverage Zenkai boosts, really giving the team a really high boost, the highest one that I had overall. Always really helpful. And yeah, Goku and Vegeta, Goku and Frieza carry a lot of the payload, especially reverse typing into blue, or switching into blue type I should say. Gives you a lot of good coverage, which is really great. Then on top of that as well, Vegeta and the Zamasu they're not the craziest units, but they can still do some decent damage. So they worked out really nicely. Like I said, you got so much cross Zenkai boost here that Vegeta and Zamasu do great damage. I actually don't even have Vegeta Zenkai Soul boosted, and he handled himself more than fine. I do, however, have Fusion Zamasu Soul boosted, so if you want to also Zenkai Soul boost your Vegeta, you'll probably end up having an even easier time than I did, which I think is difficult to say, but it's pretty good. I mean, this was a really good victory. The Frieza and Goku carry a lot of the payload. Being able to damage the red type Gogeta is really important. And one thing about this is there's no yellow unit to be aware of. So you're pretty much just focusing on doing good type neutral damage, which a lot of the times actually is just pretty easy to do. So this worked out being more than fine. Yes, you could definitely improve on this team. I think overall they worked out really nicely. So yeah, I think some teams are definitely easier than others. It also obviously depends on your box. At the end of the day, whatever kind of units you have are going to be very dependent on how you perform. I think each typing is obviously way more difficult, and I think veterans will have a lot easier time than newer players because you got more options, especially in terms of Zenkai boosts. Like boosting, making sure a unit has 1 or 2 Zenkai boosts, that stat boost is very important in this kind of content. It's very important. It's super it helps a lot. It really just assists you a ton, and I think it's difficult to do that as a new player. That being said, as a new player, you probably have more access to the new units, and the new units are designed to be good in this content. Not only do they have big boosts, but they have just really good abilities and generally do well here. Now in the green team, things were okay. Again, I think green was one of the weaker ones. It struggled a little bit, but I think it ultimately got through. I think it took me 2 or 3 attempts with this team. Broly did well, SS4 Gogeta did a good job. I have not Zenkai boosted the SS4 Full Power Goku, and that would have helped quite a bit. So again, you can still improve. You'll also notice a lot of these units are not arts boosted, so I don't have them arts boosted, really kind of functioning at an ultra mega high level. I think that's something that you also need to consider as well. I think a lot of people will understand that is really a big component as well. Arts boosting was, I don't want to say necessary, but it helps a lot in PvE content because of the heavy attacks. And for me, definitely, looking at these units and looking at how they perform, I felt like the arts boosting was definitely much more helpful with the red team. So we're on the blue team now, of course. But I definitely think, ultimately at the end of the day, I think the red team was probably the one place where I arts boosted. I arts boosted MUI Goku. It helped me a lot because he was my main source of damage dealing. The blue team actually handled things really well. I do have 2 Legends Limited here, which I don't think I've used in any of the other teams. But one is Vegito, who's quite an older Legends Limited character, so gotta be honest, I didn't feel too bad incorporating him. I think, he's not the most difficult Legends Limited. A lot of people will probably have them. If you're a new player, you have better options anyway, probably, if you've managed to pick up either the Gogeta or the Vegito. So yeah, I think, yeah, ultimately, like, yes, in terms of, like, this team, and in terms of, like, these teams, and in terms of building, I definitely felt the red team was the hardest. Out of all of these teams, it's the one that took me the longest. It's the one that took me the most attempts. It took me about 4 or 5. And I actually had to change the team once or twice. A lot of that was due to consistency in buffs, Zenkai buffs, etc. A lot of that was just due to the overall like performance of the team. Red MUI Goku definitely hard carried. That's not something I can deny. His mechanic also really helped. The ability to deal with strikes and blasts just by standing there was something that was really, really helpful. So I will have to say that that is definitely something that was really, really good. But yeah, I think ultimately at the end of the day, overall the challenges were tough, but I think they were definitely doable. They are going to be a lot easier for older players. They're going to be a lot tougher for newer players. But hey, just try your best, and I'm sure you'll eventually succeed. If you do need any specific help, or you're struggling, you need like more assistance, you can let me know, and I'll gladly assist with how I can. But yeah, just basically try your best to amplify your units, amplify your box, use units that you have higher stars in, and yeah, if worst comes to worst, look at arts boosting. It's definitely something that helps a lot. Even just getting all your units to rank 20, or maybe boosting one unit quite high, if you're going to use that unit competitively, can be a good option. Yeah, it helps. The extra damage goes a long way, especially the way it piles up and can add in. But yeah, that's basically it from me. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like, and yeah, till then, take care and bye.